So yesterday the remnants of Debby came through, and I was here, checked on everybody, made sure that Elsa was in a stall in the barn, and was kind of seeing how things went, and then the deluge came. So you can see we've got some water here, and over here I've got the stone that's going into the barn, which probably this video is going to end up being out of sequence because I have a feeling that we've got something really big that I need to check on, and that is the property where the donkeys are and the mini horses and the mules is riverfront property. And every so often, well, it wasn't supposed to be flooding, but every so often it floods in the bottom of it. And as I was coming here, I took a look at the river, and it looks like it is very, very high. So you can see we've got a lot of water. I've got the Ferguson in the barn where we had put earlier this week fill, because we're getting ready to, there's Elsa. We're getting ready to build this up, and we're going to put a new base in. And basically what's going to happen in here is we're getting ready to put the new stalls in for all the donkeys, but I'm going to be putting down stall mats. And you can see that we had, we had some wash in, I guess you would say, where we ended up with some of the dirt from outside coming in, even though we had a little bit of a trench dug around things. We've got the donkeys out right now. They had the lean in, and they also, or the run in, and they also had the trees that they could go under for cover. But you can see that actually it's not as wet as it was in here because we have the fill, which is good. This is Rocky's old pen, which has not had any fill put into it yet. And yesterday when I was here, this was filled with about 2 inches of water. And of course, there's our old gal, Miss Elsa. She's in her pen, safe and warm as a bug in a rug, right, Elsa? Although she's not crazy about being away from everybody else. But her old bones and feet and body, especially her hooves, they needed to be on something dry and not be out in the weather. But what I'm going to do right now is go see how bad the damage is outside. It looks like we had quite a bit of rain. Everybody's come to visit me. It's pretty darn wet. We're going to be doing a bunch of work out here this fall before the rains come. Hey, sugar. But I'm going to walk down and see what's going on. So give me a second to climb through here. So clearly I can see that these guys, they went and got away from the rain and went down into the little safe places that they have for themselves. They're probably going to follow me. Oh yeah, they're going to follow me because I didn't feed them yet. And really what I want to do is I want to go, yep, that's where they went. They were underneath there, hiding out. You know, when they do that, you can't even see them in there. You could walk by, and as long as they don't make a noise or they don't do anything, you wouldn't even know that they were there. And oh, I've got my helper. Yeah, it's the boyfriend. That's what we call him because he just adores the farrier. That's Floyd. He adores the farrier as long as she's not trying to do his feet. And oh my goodness, it looks like we've got a little creek going down here, draining down towards the river. And on this side of the property, it goes down over 1,200 feet. And then we're actually at the bend in the river. The bend kind of wraps around the lower portion of the property. And all of this is part of the donkey pasture. And we've got a fair amount of water here. Normally we don't have standing water there. Normally this time of the year, this is all dry. So, oh well, they don't want to come down here because they're like, we're not getting our little hooves wet. We had the farrier here this week, and we're not going to do anything to get our hooves wet. And this has grown up. I was hoping to get a brush hog through here this year, but the weather hasn't been very cooperative, as well as other things haven't been cooperative, which I'll explain in a short why I've been away for a little bit. And it's made it difficult to do things. Certainly I haven't accomplished as much as I wanted to this summer, but this is one of those things where you got to keep moving in here, because if you don't, the mosquitoes will decide, oh, there's our wood pile, at least that didn't go away. The mosquitoes will decide that they want to have a buffet. And of course, this last week we had 2 horses in our county test positive for triple E. So we don't want to be around that. And oh goodness, that was dry. Apparently it's not anymore. That's not good. Let's walk down through here. You can see what's interesting is you got all these little donkey trails going through here. They just love to make trails and go through the brush and hang out. This is kind of their little habit spot, if you'd like. They go in here and they hang out. They got quite a bit of shade, so they really don't have to worry about anything. So let's go down here. We're getting there. Kind of a roundabout way because of some brush that's here. And let's see what we got going on. We're almost, well, I'm not going to say we're almost to the river because we got a ways to go, but we're almost to the point where we should be able to, oh goodness, there's a whole bunch of water there. I'm gonna have to take a different route. Let's see. No, this isn't good. Got about 3 or 4 inches of water here, maybe a little bit more in places. And oh crud. So this is the lower part of the pasture, and clearly I'm not going to be able to go any farther because it looks like the, you can see it. I don't know if I'll be able to get close enough. Let me see if I can get this and show you what I'm seeing. I need to orient myself here. I don't think you can. Oh, there you can. Way off in the distance. The river has overflown the banks. And down there you can see one of my posts. And the river has come all the way up to where I am, which is probably about, oh, I'm gonna say 100 foot from the fence line, maybe a little bit more. And the river has come all the way up, and I'm standing in water that is right there, probably about 8 inches. We've had this happen before, not this late in the season. Usually it happens in the spring. And I've had it where we've had little rubber duckies going by and things like that. But the entire bottom portion of the property, it appears, is completely underwater. So the river has obviously crested the banks. Thankfully, the donkeys have. I've got to get out of here. Because with it like this, you never know. We've got dams upstream and things like that. If they have to do relief, we don't want to have any problems. Certainly I don't want to. But the donkeys have more than enough pasture and more than enough places up above this for them to go hang out. And the upper part of the paddock, they had taken out some of the trees about a week ago, cut them down. And I'm not going to say that that's dry, but it certainly isn't like it is down below. So we've got a couple different areas in this property where there are plateaus. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the other side to see how bad it is from here. I can try. Might give a better idea. It's a little bit more open on the other side. But clearly, we had a lot of rain come through. And we've got places through the property where there were some ditches that were built a long time ago. And the mosquitoes are starting to get bad. But you can see one of them here. And the water basically goes down through and drains. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it down to the other side. Let's see. Can't be down here too long because I want to go feed them. And I have something I need to do this afternoon. Oh boy. So this is kind of one of the low spots in the property, in the middle of the property. And clearly you can see we've got an awful lot of water here. But sadly, this doesn't look like it's just the low spot in the property, because I'm going over here and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this is the worst flooding that we've ever had here. This is the absolute worst flooding we've ever had. The highest that the water has ever come up and been like this. I don't know if this does it justice, but I'm at the midpoint of the property, which means that this has basically, the river has crested far and away the highest it ever has. And I've had the property now since, oh goodness, I think since 2000. Since about 2000 was when we bought it. And this is unbelievable. I don't know if I'm going to have a fence left by the time it finishes and filters out. Hopefully it's just going to drain out. And the current from the bend in the river, it can get pretty nasty. I can see that flowing down there. It's one of those things where the current can get going, and I worry about my gate down there and the fence. But I've got to say, this is unbelievable. I am a bit flabbergasted. So on the one side of the property where I was just recording the flooding, that's the side that is not quite as deep as the other side. And it's actually in line with, you probably can see the roof right there, my neighbor's house. So because we have a longer run of the property down towards the river where his house is, thankfully it doesn't look like he's been flooded. He's up high enough. But on the other side of the property, just in line with that, it has flooded, and there's probably about, I'm going to say 8 to 10 inches of water when you first come upon the flooded area, and it immediately gets much, much deeper after that. So I'm headed back up. I'm going to go feed the donkeys and make sure that Elsa has what she needs. Because I'll be coming back down later today to check everything, basically make sure everybody's okay, and feed up again. But I've got to say, this is pretty incredible. I was at the farm when the rain really started coming down yesterday, and I did that. I came up here a little bit earlier than I typically would because I knew it was going to get bad, and it ended up that our county actually, shortly after I came back to the home farm, they had put on a travel advisory, and within about 2 hours after that, they put on a travel ban where there was no travel allowed in my county. So I was very glad that I had come up, taken care of everybody, made sure everybody was okay, and then of course we were able to do chores at our home farm. All the goats are fine. That property sits up a little bit higher kind of on a knoll, so it's typically not a problem if there's heavy rain. But this property clearly, you know, we've got a 100-year flood. We got to say this is now probably the 5th time that the lower portion of the property has flooded since 2000. And it really wasn't supposed to flood like that. But, you know, things are changing. We've had more wind. We've had more tornado watches and warnings here in northern New York than we have in a long time. Since I've lived here, it seems like every year the wind is getting worse. And we're having more tornado warnings. So, just have to change things. I might have to put in another fence up above where that flooding is now, just so I can lock them out. And that way, if we have a breach of the fence for some reason, we don't have donkeys and mules and mini horses that decide that they want to go on a walkabout, because that would not be good. Hi, guys. Yeah, hi. How are you? How about if we get some hay, okay? All right, let's go, guys. All right, so I fed everybody, and what I'm gonna do now is wipe my boots off, and then I think I may drive down my, that's handy to at least wipe those off. I may drive down my neighbor's driveway and see if he wouldn't mind if I checked my fence down there, because I want to make sure that we're not going to have any problems once the water starts receding. And I'm also kind of curious to see how far down or how high the water is down there.